In today's brief video, I want to take a moment and speak directly to anyone who is struggling with weed withdrawal symptoms. As someone who has personally struggled with nicotine, THC, energy drink, and adult media content addictions for several years, I know firsthand that weed withdrawal sucks, but I'm here today to tell you that that's not entirely a bad thing, and I'm going to explain exactly why that is in today's video. If you wind up enjoying the content, be sure to check out the video description and the link in the profile for a free PDF on quitting smoking weed or to learn more about our paid addiction mindset recovery coaching services. Weed withdrawal sucks. I'm not going to deny that. I struggled with addiction to cannabis for several years, and when I quit, I had a challenging time. I was suffering from psychosis, and I was suffering from stage 1 cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. Now, here's the deal. When you're going through weed withdrawal symptoms, you're often going to experience insomnia, anxiety, sweating, mood swings, which for me included irritability and anger, headaches, anhedonia, which is a loss of joy or motivation in life, brain fog, potentially one of the most annoying symptoms, joint pain, myalgia, which is muscle pain, fatigue, and gastrointestinal issues. And that's just to name a few of the withdrawal symptoms that some people may experience while they're quitting smoking weed. I experienced a majority of these symptoms personally. Combined with the psychosis, it was not fun. With that being said, although weed withdrawal symptoms suck, I also would like to point out that addiction also sucks. Being addicted to a substance, being a slave to a substance, whether it's nicotine, pornography, alcohol, that sucks. Living a life of active addiction sucks. And during my quitting process, when I came to realize that withdrawal sucks, but addiction also sucks, it made withdrawal suck a little less. Because the reality was, things already sucked. It wasn't like I was quitting active addiction from a place of joy and happiness. My life sucked. That's why I was quitting. Now, after I started to have this realization, I also thought a little bit deeper about addiction and the symptoms of addiction, particularly to weed. Addiction symptoms are no fun. They suck. Think about it. Increased anxiety, increased bouts of depression, declining physical and mental health, insomnia. Yes, I had insomnia during the end stages of my active addiction to weed. Brain fog. I wasn't performing at my top potential when I was constantly under the influence of a substance. I had financial issues. I had financial stress because of the amount of money that I was spending on these various substances. And trust me, having money problems is never a good feeling. I also wasn't growing. I wasn't growing in my relationships. I wasn't growing in my finances. I wasn't growing in my businesses. Not growing sucks. I was lacking motivation. I was lacking drive. All of these characteristics that we often see in an addiction suck. There's nothing enjoyable about each of these things. And this was an extremely important realization. And you know what's funny about this? If you look at all the symptoms of addiction, a lot of those symptoms actually look pretty similar to the withdrawal symptoms that people experience when they first quit. But so the reality is we're numb to those symptoms during active addiction because we're constantly under the influence of the drug. So we just don't feel it the same. Now, after I put two and two together, I started to change how I saw withdrawal and how I viewed the withdrawal symptoms. Withdrawal is really nothing more than growing pains. Yes, there is definitely some discomfort and some pain when it comes to the withdrawal symptoms. But when I look at withdrawal, I see withdrawal specifically from marijuana. I'm not necessarily talking about alcohol or benzos or things that could be deadly to quit on your own without a supervised detox. Withdrawal is a pain with purpose. When we are going through the withdrawal process, what we're actually doing is we're going through a detox, and our body is physically healing. Our brain is psychologically healing. So withdrawal, although there's pain, it's a pain with purpose. I don't remember being a child, but I assume at one point in my life I had growing pains. Well, there was a purpose behind that. It was so I could hit the tall height of 5'5". When you're working out in the gym and you're lifting weights and you're breaking down your muscle fibers, there's discomfort, but there is a purpose to that discomfort. When someone takes an ice bath or sweats it out in a sauna, there is purpose behind that discomfort. When someone trains for a marathon, when someone builds a business and they put in the long hours and they put in all the work and they make all the sacrifices that they make to watch a business build and a business grow, there was a purpose behind the sacrifice. There was a purpose behind the pain. There is no purpose, though, in the pain of active addiction. There is no purpose in weed addiction and continued weed consumption. Addiction is simply pain. And I think this is one of the most important things to understand when it comes to addiction recovery and quitting smoking weed. For years in the recovery community, people would tell me, oh, you're chasing pleasure, you're addicted to pleasure, you're constantly chasing pleasure. And to some extent, I would agree, but there was no pleasure at the end stages of my active addiction. Maybe in the first few years when I was smoking, maybe early on, yes, there was social pleasure, there was physical pleasure, there was psychological pleasure. But once addiction kicked over, once my brain physiology changed, once addiction started to create a state of constant dopamine deficit, which is what happens if you've been addicted to for a long enough time, there is no more pleasure. And this was a primary perceived benefit that I had of weed. When I was quitting, I was still under the perception that there was pleasure associated with my substance use. And there was also a lot of people out there telling me that I was chasing pleasure. Why would I want to give up something that was pleasurable? But then I would go consume the drug and I would only wind up getting more pain because active addiction only results in pain. There is no pleasure and there is no purpose to the pain that you are currently experiencing when you are in active addiction. But if you're watching this video right now and you're struggling with withdrawal symptoms, I guarantee you there is pleasure on the other side of that. I guarantee you that there is a light at the end of that tunnel because withdrawal is pain with purpose. Now, we could take this a step further if we wanted to, and we could say this: life without purpose sucks. This is the reality. This is a fact. When we look at depression, when we look at people who lost a job that means a lot to them, or someone who lost a significant other who meant a lot to them, that was part of their purpose in life. And when we lose those things, it sucks. Addiction and living a life of addiction inherently sucks because there is no purpose to the actions, the behaviors, the efforts, and the energy that we're putting into this thing that we're feeding addiction with. And a life without purpose sucks. This is why mental health becomes such a major issue when we're talking about prolonged weed addiction. This is why long-term use, chronic use, no pun intended, of weed leads to such declining mental health because it takes the purpose out of our lives. We could even go a step further and say that life without growth sucks. And where does growth come from in our life? Growth comes from purpose. If I have a purpose, if I'm pursuing something, that means that I'm growing. It means that I'm developing. And growth and purpose feed into the momentum of life that ideally makes us feel good, that truly makes us feel rewarded. Quitting is growth. Growth provides purpose. So for those of you who are struggling right now with weed addiction, for those of you that feel like you can't get through this, I promise you that you can. I promise you that myself and the 55,000 other people that are subscribed to our channel have gone through or are going through something extremely similar to you. And I promise you that there's a light on the other side of the tunnel. Now, if you enjoyed the content in today's video and you need help reframing other aspects of your mindset when it comes to quitting a substance, whether it's nicotine, weed, stimulant products, or adult media content, be sure to check out the pinned comment or the link in the video description to learn more about our one-on-one coaching program, our community group coaching program, or just head there and download some of the free PDFs. I have an 80-page guide on quitting. I have a 7-step guide on quitting. And then I have my 11 foundational pillars, the things that have helped me stay sober over the last 6 to 7 years since I've quit. I'll follow you guys right into the next video where I talk a little bit about why weed addiction is such a dangerous thing. I'll see you in one of those places.